Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30, the 20, he will score!
To the end zone, down the field, and it is deflected, and gone! Touchdown! A.J. Green!
Over goes back to throw, men are coming late, looks right down the middle, there's Eddie Brown, he has it at the 35 to the 30, he may go, 10-5, touchdown!
Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up.
Yeah.
It is good.
Corey Dillon, he's gone. The knockout punch, you're looking at it. 65 yards. And they're back to throw as the blitz is on. Goes long, intended for Collinsworth. He has it down to the 20, touchdown. And Chris Collinsworth.
Throwing the long ball. Deep down the field. Chad Johnson's got it. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Look at Chase go. Oh my goodness, what a gear he just found. Case for the touchdown. Wow, Chase is on the case.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that?
Back so soon. Absolutely love it. We're calling it the Chatterbox Bengals playoff push Sunday special. And thought we'd milk one more show out of this season, right? So we got Chiefs, Broncos. That score just changed, about to get underway in Denver. And then we have Dolphins, Jets up in the Meadowlands in beautiful, beautiful New Jersey. I was just there a couple weeks ago. I can tell you it's not so beautiful. But nonetheless, we've already had that stadium pull out one miracle for the Bengals in this playoff push with Drew Lock and the Giants getting a win. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers and the Jets can do the same. Craig will be manning that game. I'll be on Chiefs-Broncos duty, and hopefully we get to see a historic weekend here and the Bengals can get in.
Officially 33 degrees at kickoff in the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium. And as the game goes on, obviously, as the night gets older, the temperatures will drop, and we'll see how this Dolphins team responds. Opening kickoff, we're turned out past the 30 for the Dolphins. They'll start on offense on this one. Snoop Huntley heading out to start for the Dolphins.
First play of the game in the Broncos game going to be a long run for the fullback.
Of course.
There we go.
Of course.
There we go. Off to a roaring
Aaron,
start
we
here.
appreciate you tuning in. We're going to figure out how to do this. We don't normally do dual watches.
Or two games at once.
So we're going to, yeah, 2 games at once. Normally Jacob's doing the play-by-play. We're going to figure out how to figure that out as we go. Probably just focus on big plays. Maybe not give the full play-by-play, but certainly update you as important things happen along the way, and probably touch a little bit more on the game from last night as we go. And the Dolphins start with an incomplete pass on first down.
I threw it out there to some of the guys in the office if they wanted to come on, kind of treat this as like a Manning cast, have some guests. Got a couple hard yeses for a post-game show if we get in. No luck.
Nobody wants
appearances. So we're gonna have a good time here if the Bengals are able to sneak in. I have a nice build set up here on the production side of things, so we can fit everyone on if that happens. But that's
I can't wait for you to have to break out the Octo box for Chatterbox Bengals post game. That's going to be something legendary.
If the Bengals are to get in, we will have everyone that's done a show this year on for the post game. So that'll be a lot of fun. Just a little extra rooting interest for those of you that have strudged through the 18 weeks with us.
Yeah.
Illegal use
Look
of
at Kirby
hands
in
on
the chat.
Defense going to give an easy first down. Thank you, Kirby. A Kirby compliment on a live stream always means a lot. He's the king of them with the Chatterbox Reds, so that means a lot.
Dolphins on 3rd and 14, run the ball, and the Jets will force a punt on the first drive of the game.
There we go.
We like that. 4th and 8. 4th and 8. What up, John? Welcome in. What's up, David Shaw? Appreciate everybody joining. Certainly expect this chat to pick up as the games go on, and if they stay close, this one's going to be it's going to be a wild one.
Yeah. Mike Ackley was
John,
a great
are we
point
feeling optimistic today?
There we go. That's a good question because we know optimistic John's not always so optimistic. So hopefully we get a good day today. Mike Ackley with a good point in the chat. Usually likes equal wins, but the Bengals aren't playing today. So it's pretty simple. Likes equal playoffs. And we get some likes rolling on this stream. And we're going to have another week plus of Chatterbox Bengals. And as I'm talking, Javonte Williams bursts through the Chiefs' second stringers for a first down on 3rd.
Any obviously Chris Jones probably not playing. Any other notable names that they've talked about that aren't playing for the Chiefs today?
Chris Jones and McDuffie were the two on defense. I forget if Karlaftis was playing. If you give me a second, I'll go ahead and pull up the list of inactives, and we can go ahead and refresh everyone on that. I don't think the Chiefs are throwing the game. It's important to always, say that. They're not playing their starters because they don't want injuries.
Oh, Rodgers picked off on our first offensive play, bounced off of Devontae Adams' hand, picked off by the Dolphins, and they will have the ball at the 15-yard line going in. Aaron Rodgers tried to hit Devontae Adams on the slant route. Quick pass, and it just bounced right off of his hands and was picked off by the Dolphins.
And a screen pass to Marvin Mims goes for 25 yards and a touchdown. The Broncos lead 6-0 pending the extra point.
Exactly how we wanted these games
Roaring
to start.
For the Chiefs, notable inactives, they did say that players that are playing probably won't play the whole game. A lot of starters will, rotate out as the game progresses. But from an inactive side of things, no Pacheco. Mahomes is inactive. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Jawan Taylor, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. So all the biggest names inactive for the Chiefs. And but that's only what? 8 guys? There's 22 starters out there on a 15-1 team. We got most of them.
Eight inactive, and who knows how many others are the quote-unquote emergency backups.
Yeah. They asked Andy Reid about how many guys he's planning on benching, and he said as many as we can within the roster constraints. So that didn't make me feel great about that.
Yep. Not a good little start there with the Denver touchdown and the Dolphins interception, but nonetheless, we're gonna stick this one out for as long as we can. Full transparency, if this one gets ugly and the Bengals' hopes are looking bleak, we may or may not stay on for this whole game. And No Name brought it up in the chat. Someone behind me. My mom's walking around back there somewhere, so if you happen to see her walking around,
Hi, Mama Sandler.
She's rooting for the Bengals just as much as we are, I'm sure.
Officially a part of the program now, so she'll have to join the post game if we get this done.
That's right.
I know this is we're focused on the Bengals here, but there's some big college news that just came across my desk. A little breaking news: number 1 player in the transfer portal, Zachariah Branch, and his brother Zion committed to Georgia. So Georgia getting the number 1 wide receiver and one of the top DBs in the portal, loading up after that loss to Notre Dame. I think they have a roster spot open after they inevitably cut Parker Jones. So. Filling it right away. Kirby
Smart reloading. Snoop's pass sails high on him, intended for Jalen Waddle on 3rd and 2. It'll bring up 4th and 2, and the Dolphins will bring on the field goal unit. Jason Sanders in for the chip shot. 26-yarders officially on the attempt. Is up and right through. The Dolphins on top early on. 11:46 to go. They lead 3-0. So over the Jets, good, set up by an interception bouncing off of Devontae Adams.
This isn't good.
Not what we're looking for from the score bugs, for sure. But it is early. It is early.
That's right. We've saw some people already today that had a lot to play for lose those games and or at least be close down the stretch, and then we've seen a lot of people that had nothing to play for that still got the wins or again were fighting down the stretch. So who knows how these could go. Everyone thought the Panthers were going to pack it in. Falcons playing for potentially a playoff berth, and they go to overtime. And Patriots were up for a while on the Bills, who weren't playing any starters, and Patriots need draft pick. And you never know how these games in Week 18 could go. So we still got hope for sure.
Yeah, wrapping up the early slate, the Panthers move to 5-12 on the year. They pick up the overtime victory, scoring a touchdown in overtime over the Falcons, who dropped to 8-9. Commanders defeat the Cowboys 23-19. The Bears defeat the Packers for the first time in a long time. They win 24-22. Houston runs over the Tennessee Titans 23-14. The Colts do sneak out the victory over the Jaguars, so good news there that the Colts lost last week to the Giants. Yeah. They win 26-23 in what is likely Doug Peterson's last game as the head coach of the Jaguars. You mentioned the Patriots. Patriots win 23-16 over the Bills, getting a fourth quarter sixth spot to win that one. The Eagles, without Saquon Barkley and without Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee still leads them to victory over those New York Giants 20-13. And the Buccaneers, they secure the NFC South 27-19 with the victory over the Saints.
That they do.
Mom, you want to say hi?
I love it. I love it. It's a family affair. Titans and our old friend Brian Callahan now in line for the first overall pick after that Patriots win. A lot of the issues earlier this year, him talking about Will Levis and everything like that. Obviously, he didn't have his quarterback this year, and I still have some faith in Callahan as a head coach. Hopefully, he can get his guy at the top of this draft and build something going forward.
Well, that was my question for you, Jacob. Knowing Brian Callahan's offense and knowing what he wants to do with the football, who would be your pick at number one for Brian Callahan and the Tennessee Titans?
I'd take Cam. I'd take Cam Ward out of Miami. I just think he's a little bit more pro-ready than Shedeur. I know a lot of people like Shedeur. There were some reports coming out this week that some people don't even have him ranked in their first round. I don't know if I'd necessarily go that far, but I don't think this is a great quarterback class by any means. When we're discussing Jalen Milroe as potentially quarterback 3, we know it's not very good. So I'm not thrilled with any of these guys, but personally, I think I like Cam Ward just a little bit better than Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I wish that there was a pure passer for Brian Callahan. I like Brian Callahan and want him to succeed in Tennessee, obviously. I don't know that he's going to get the quarterback that would really take him to where he wants to be. I wouldn't be shocked to see them try and trade that number one pick. Maybe cool. Try and trade it for a quarterback.
Maybe a tough sell to franchise, though, if you need a quarterback.
I know.
To move that number one pick
certainly.
Fan base.
Yeah. But if you can package that and maybe get a J.J. McCarthy or something like that, along with some picks in return, then that would certainly make a lot of sense for them. Again, with Callahan and what he wants to do, I don't know that he necessarily needs a super mobile quarterback. I guess Cam's probably the best passer of the group, but
that's kind of why I went that direction.
I don't know that any of them truly fit what he wants. And when you're looking at
one that would be
next year's draft class,
decided to declare after a playoff run, I would take Drew Aller in a heartbeat at number one if I'm Brian Callahan and the Titans.
Yeah. That'll be a really interesting play. I know he already talked about going back to Penn State next year, and their backup quarterback already transferred out because of it. But I mean, in this year's draft class, I hope that there's somebody in his ear telling him, "Hey, look, if you come out, you're going to be a number one overall draft pick, or at least a top 3 draft pick."
Yeah,
certainly would be interesting. The Jets go in with some trickery here. End around to Davante Adams, throws it back to Aaron Rodgers behind the line of scrimmage, who throws it now back to Davante Adams, who's blown up when he catches the ball. They're going to rule it incomplete, but the Jets breaking out deep into the playbook on that one. And Davante Adams took a hard shot on that one. Play action to Breece Hall, end around to Davante Adams, lateral back to Aaron Rodgers, nobody open. He goes back to Davante Adams and then ends up being a blown up, incomplete pass They were looking for Garrett Wilson down the middle. He was double covered.
Chiefs punted it away back to the Broncos. So we'll have another go-ahead here with the Chiefs defense. This
Screen
is
pass to Devontae Adams. He makes a terrible decision and tries to go to the outside, even though his receiver had inside leverage, and gets tackled for no gain. Yeah, Nate says that he would trade the one and build up the roster in Tennessee. Did the Broncos have a good return?
No, but it was fine.
Okay, well, let's see how they do. Come on, defense. Come on, Chiefs.
It wasn't a bad return.
Oh, man. You've been out in the snow yet today, Jacob?
I was. I knew we were going to be on here during prime shoveling time, so I went and sprinkled some salt on the driveway pre-show. Maybe get ahead of it.
Nice. Screen pass dropped by Breece Hall. Jets 3 and out. Will punt it right back to the Dolphins.
Wide open. I mean, he wouldn't have got the first down.
It.
Wouldn't have got the first down on 3rd and 11, but you got to catch that ball.
Yeah.
What is your? I know it's week 18, and we got a lot of stuff to focus on as Bengals fans here. But what is your take on fantasy leagues that play week 18?
Ooh, that's rough. I'm not gonna lie. My fantasy league. Now, granted, it was my work league, and we only had 8 people in it, but we ended in week 16.
Oh wow.
So
okay,
yeah.
That tells me all I need to know.
Week 18. Week 18 is rough. At the end of the day, you want the best team to win your fantasy championship, and to put them in a position where they got to worry about resting starters in week 18 is a tough ask. Is that the Chatterbox League? Does that have the championship this week?
The Chatterbox League ended in week 17, but
right.
I do have one still going, and I am in the championship, so I'm trying to deal with a lot
I think
of
you mentioned it
things.
on. I think you mentioned it off of the bench, but who took home the Chatterbox
Andrew Dunn
this year?
Andrew Dunn took home the Chatterbox League. I believe he beat Casey in the championship, so almost had one of our own win it, but it was Andrew Dunn who took it home.
Wouldn't want the sports media company to actually prove that they're good at sports or anything.
That would have been detrimental. I think I was.
Did you even
the
make the playoffs in the league?
No, I missed the playoffs,
man.
but the other 3. Elliott, Casey, and Reed all made it, and I believe Casey and Reed were 2 of the final 4 teams. So a decent showing for our office.
David Shaw puts it in the chat. I'm not super high on college football. I don't follow it nearly to the level you do. Miami cornerback transfer De'Ani Hill committing to Wisconsin. Luke Fickell picking up the transfer portal corner there.
He's trying.
I don't know if that's Miami of Ohio or Miami of Florida. I'm not going to lie.
I don't recognize that name either as a standout, but he's trying to get something rolling up there, and it certainly hasn't worked out so far. Broncos convert the 3rd and 4 out to their own 30 now. It's 1st and 10 again.
I saw that the former Toledo quarterback who transferred to Baylor is transferring again and visited Miami of Ohio this week.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite MAC players of all time. That 2021 Toledo team, Daquan Finn, he was an absolute monster, won MVP of their championship game that year. And if he goes back to the MAC, I'll be placing a MAC championship future on whichever team he commits to, because I absolutely love him. Didn't work out at Baylor though. Didn't work out at all.
Is he why didn't it work out at Baylor? Is he an NFL talent, or
probably not?
Just
he
didn't
did
get
get hurt after
week
week 3 and just missed the rest of the year, and their other quarterback was better than expected, so I think it's kind of get the 26-year-old out of here type of thing. But I think he's a fine college quarterback, especially at a non-Power 5 school, Power 4 school. I think he'll be able to have a pretty good year.
With and without Tua since 2022, with 25-16 are the Dolphins. Without 3-6, they score 26.7 with him, 13.9 without. Only 187 yards passing per game compared to 265. The Dolphins not nearly as explosive without Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback. Snoop Huntley going to do his best. So far this year, he's completing 66% of his passes, 604 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. As they take over now inside the 35. And Devin Achane breaks one outside, picks up 15+ for a first down. And T. Brookie's right. This misery of not having destiny in your hands, depending on Kansas City and the Jets, not a fun feeling by any means. Got to start fast next year. Can't afford the 2-week little slow start that the Bengals seem to have every year.
Broncos get stopped on 3rd and 2. It's going to be 4th and short, but it's on their own side of the field. Maybe they punt this away, but I would expect them to go for it. Yeah, they're leaving the offense out there. 4th and 1 at their own 39.
Come on, Chiefs.
Bo Nix under center. Could just be a hard count. They go for it. It's a sneak. And I think he got it. It'll come down to the spot. Yeah, peeling off the bodies. He got it. First down, Broncos. No Chris Jones in the middle of the defense against the QB sneak. That's a doozy. That's a doozy when you rely on him all year long. And he's not there in the biggest moment for us, at least.
Yep. Here it is. Game break on Fox. They're showing the screen pass to Mims that broke.
Nuke
nice
to Cortland
nice
Sutton, and that's caught. That's an absolute bomb from Bo Nix. I believe the Broncos are now in the red zone.
Perfect.
And they are. They're at the KC 13. That is a 47-yard just straight up run past you and catch it deep ball. Cortland Sutton, one of the big incentive guys today, 82 yards for about $1 million, I believe.
Good for Cortland Sutton. Snoop fumbles, but recovered by his offensive lineman.
Damn.
They're going to lose 6 or 7 on the play, it looks like. Be 4th and long. They're going to have to punt this away. The Jets defense gets the stop that they need.
Huge.
4th and 8. And the punt team is on to punt from the 45. Jets get the ball back.
Short 3-yard run for Nix on first down. Broncos lined up for 2nd and 7 now. They can get a first down at about the 4-yard line without scoring. Nix scrambles and throws. End zone. That's a touchdown for Cortland Sutton. 13-0. The Broncos are up pending the extra point.
Well, Jacob, the Broncos are at least going to keep it easy on us. We were worried that we might be sweating this one.
Could the Broncos pull their starters? Do they get comfortable? Up 14, they're like, oh, we got to rest our guys for the playoffs. And
could you imagine they pull their starters and give up the lead? Oh, my God.
Oh, man. I thought we were going to at least get out of the first quarter with a little bit of optimism and joy.
Rough. Rough.
T. Brookie asks, what are the snow totals so far? I don't know. It wasn't too much when I came down in the basement. I was still seeing some grass, but my mom was driving through Kentucky earlier this morning, and she said it was pretty bad down there. So it's certainly headed this way.
Yeah, we went down. We were down in Kentucky too. The roads are not great, not terrible. I've seen worse, but they weren't great. I don't know. We're probably sitting between 2 and 3 inches here in Mason, so not terrible, but projected to get anywhere from 6 to 10.
I've seen
like
6 to 10. I've seen 4 to 12. I've seen 9 to 14. I've seen so many different ranges that I don't even begin to know. I just hope I can get my car out of the garage in the morning.
There you go. Yeah, we didn't mention it when I did the scores earlier, but cool moment in the Tampa Bay Bucks game. Last play of the game, Mike Evans needed 5 yards to eclipse 1,000 on the year for the 11th straight season, which is insane. Last play of the game, they throw to him to get him the yards, and he ends up fighting forward, picking up 7 to get to just over 1,000 yards on the season. And I loved it. The entire team celebrating with him, coming out on the field and and jumping around like a mosh pit. So shout out to Mike Evans. I know yesterday they were talking about Najee Harris and how he's eclipsed 1,000 yards for each of his 4 years. A little bit more impressive to do it receiving 11 straight years. So tip of the cap to Mike Evans, one of the best wide receivers in the game for sure, and probably a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'd say anytime a club is you and Jerry Rice in receiver world, it's a pretty good spot to be. So yeah, Mike Evans, the most underrated maybe player of my lifetime in terms of where he's looked at and the career he's had, but maybe the most underrated player in the league right now plays right next to him. I think with everyone talking about how good Mike Evans is, Chris Godwin gets overlooked as one of the best wide receiver twos in the entire league, and he's going to be a free agent this year coming off an injury. So I'll be interested to see how he's valued in the open market.
Yeah, I think that tandem there in Tampa Bay has been one of the best in the league for sure, and doesn't ever seem to get the recognition that they deserve. Obviously, the Bengals with T and with Jamar Chase get a lot of recognition for their 1-2 punch. It feels like a lot of times, sometimes the Tampa Bay duo is overlooked. So it'll be interesting what Chris Godwin does this offseason.
I feel like that's talked about in terms of best duos. And if you go, longevity of production, it's pretty clearly the Buccaneers.
Yep.
Broncos kick it off. Chiefs take a knee. We'll have the ball at the 30. Natty Ron asks, how long will you all be live? It's a good question. We're gonna hold on. At
this rate, not long.
We're gonna keep the blood pressure measured and the heartbeat measured, and when we reach 0, we won't be live anymore. And I don't know if we can predict when that point is, but whenever we reach 0, we will be done. Carson Wentz,
Jack,
give it another go.
Jack made a comment in the chat as well. Falcons losing, drop the Bengals down a spot in the draft. He made the comment, let's hope they don't steal a generational talent from us. Yeah, just like they did with Kyle Pitts. Right?
I hope that was a planned joke, because that's really funny if that was on purpose, because that is what everyone said. That's one of the funniest drafts to look at this point, is where they took Kyle Pitts based on who went after him. There we go. Pass interference on Pat Surtain. Not only does that give the Chiefs a first down, but another notch against him in the DPOY race, maybe. So I don't have a guy getting week 18 penalties. My guy had 3.5 sacks.
The Jets on 3rd and 13 throw a screen to Breece Hall. He picks up 5 or 6, and the Jets will yet again punt it back to the Dolphins.
How many points do you think wins
Aaron
that
Rodgers
game?
And
12?
Honestly, 12.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz just misses a deep ball to Justin Watson. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
If we can just get a touchdown here from the Chiefs, that would be a big momentum builder, hopefully, to get them back in this game. Tyreek Hill back to field the punt for the Dolphins. He's got space, but hesitates on the return. Cuts outside, and he will run out of bounds at the Dolphins' 15-yard line. Nothing there for him. The Dolphins' offense will come back on the field, led by Snoop Huntley.
Carson Wentz backwards flip while being sacked. The guy that caught it got tackled for like a 4-yard loss, but he still completed the pass.
Okay.
3rd and 14. I had hope for a second. It was a pretty cool play. He flipped it while getting tackled, but Noah Gray tackled for about a 4-yard loss.
I think Natty echoes the feelings of many of us last night and even into this morning. We woke up hopeful, a little worried now early in these games.
I'm starting to realize the mental gymnastics that I somehow did to convince myself a plus 1,600 parlay was like gonna happen. That was crazy. 3rd and long, Carson Wentz throws about a 2-yard check down on 3rd and 14. The Chiefs will be kicking it back.
Man, are you streaming on Paramount?
Am I?
I'm
not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No.
I thought
are you actually watching cable?
Yeah, I have a Spectrum box here.
Oh, Why am I ahead of you?
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit. That's fine.
I
I
don't
just
know.
won't say anything about the game.
Okay, you can.
It was a commercial, so I figured I'd flip over and see what was going on there, see if they could pick up that third down. They did not.
Matarazzo kicking it.
Punt. Andy will pick them up at halftime, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Andy's going to go in the halftime. Ho, 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 I'm Santa. And then they're still going to lose. If they cared, I'd have confidence. My only confidence in this game was that Carson Wentz was going to watch Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold the last 3 years, and he was just going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to do that and make a lot of money. But it seems like he decided not to.
Elliot said, I think we can pack this one in now, fellas.
Rude, Elliot.
Let's just end the stream after half an hour and just say, well, we give up.
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, man.
Dada says, on to mock drafts. I did one last night. And I thought it was fun.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Who'd you take?
I did. I took James Pierce at 18.
Oh, he was still there at 18.
He was, and I was overjoyed.
Wow. I bet you
James
were.
Pierce,
I know you love him.
Armand Membu, and Cam Scatabo in the first 3 rounds.
Cam in the third. Yeesh.
Sonic and
Knuckles
Knuckles.
in the third round pick.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Back. Yeah, I feel you.
We
Worked
get
out for the
our
Lions. If we can get, what do they have? 11 touchdowns each this year? I'd take that.
That's what I'm saying. 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns apiece. We'll be good.
Oh, man. Anonymous is reminding us that the Bengals won't make the playoffs. We appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that big time.
Oh, man. Well, I'll give the Jets this. You know, they seem to be playing hard. Their defense is rallying around the ball. Multiple green jerseys around the Dolphins ball carrier pretty much every play. So certainly at this point feel like at least the Jets showed up a little bit, certainly more than it feels like the Chiefs defense showed up at this point. So we'll tip our cap to the Jets at this point.
Is this an example of the Chiefs defense not showing up or not having NFL players out there?
Well, yeah, fair.
I don't want to kill these guys, and they're probably bagging groceries like 3 weeks ago.
Dolphins on 3rd and 2. Washington on the slant. He picks up the first down and more. Out past the 25. Down around the Dolphins' 30-yard line. Still a long way to go to get into field goal range or anything else, but first down for the Dolphins.
8.5 minutes of possession so far for the Broncos. 16 plays, 2 touchdowns. Now they have the ball back on their own 11, backed up after the punt. See if the Chiefs defense can get the first stop of the game. Their first stop of the game, I should say. This is Bo Nix's most consecutive completions to start a game in his NFL career. 8 for 8.
Oh, perfect.
9 for 9
Perfect timing.
as Mims goes for about 6.
The Patriots earlier today picking up the victory over the Bills 23-16. Joe Milton started that game, at least what I saw.
He did not start the game.
11.
Drake May started, but
he didn't start.
Joe Milton
in.
relieved him very quickly.
Okay, well, he came in, and Joe Milton started his performance 11 for 11 for like 159 yards. He finished the game 22 of 29, 241 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad first showing for Joe Milton. What was your take on Joe Milton as a pro prospect coming into the year and now that maybe you've seen him for a game?
Yeah, I hate him about as much as I hate anyone that's ever played football in the entire world. I absolutely despise Joe Milton. He was the backup quarterback for 2 of my least favorite teams in any sport of all time. He went from Michigan to Tennessee, and for the offseason before each of those schools when he was supposed to start, all I heard was how great he was and how far he could throw an orange and how electric that arm was and everything like that. And he stunk everywhere he's been. He was the Michigan quarterback in 2020 when they had the worst season they've ever had and almost got Harbaugh fired, and he stunk at Tennessee when he went there, and I'm pretty sure he's going to stink in the NFL whenever he plays starters.
All right. Yeah, that's really the key. Whenever he plays starters,
right?
This is
right.
a little bit like
he went off in the preseason
like
too.
Bo Nix today. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting now that the Patriots. I think the Patriots are slotted in around the second pick. See what they do with that. Also, interesting storyline around that with whether or not Gerard Mayo will be back as Devin Achane breaks loose. He's down past the 20 to the 10, tackled at the 2-yard line. Devin Achane picks up 60 plus on that one. And the Dolphins now in striking range. 62 yards on the rush for Devin Achane. Got past the first level, made a man miss, and was off for the races.
A lot of questions in the chat
as at the 2.
This is starting to trend a certain direction here about what changes we might expect after falling short of the playoffs 2 years in a row. My tune hasn't changed. Zach Taylor's not going anywhere. I think your best case scenario, if you're a guy that really wants a lot of change, is Lou Anarumo potentially gets fired. But even that, at this point, I'm probably about 65-35 that he's the DC next year. So I think the change that's made is firing of Frank Pollock, the O-line coach, and possibly, maybe, Zach Taylor giving up play calling to Dan Pitcher, but that's about the extent of anything I could expect this offseason.
That's not happening.
It's the only thing he can keep his job with, is all I'm saying.
What, giving up play calling?
No. If everything goes, if stuff's going poorly to start next year, he gives up play calling, and that's the change you can make, I think, is the only change that I could see being made if it starts to slip again.
Yeah, if it starts to slip again.
That's how coaches usually try to change and save their job.
I don't think he's going to make the change in the offseason.
No.
When you talk about changes this offseason, I'm going to be brutally honest here, and I don't love it, but the more and more I look at how this season finished and the way that the Bengals typically operate, I wouldn't be shocked to see every single coach back next year. Wow. Including someone like Frank Pollock. I think given what they had with the backups that they've had, I know that you look at Cordell Volson and the step back that he made this year. I just don't know that the Bengals ever really move in that direction. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I am going into the offseason that if I'm responsible for the coaching staff, I'm probably moving on from Frank, and I'm moving on from the secondaries coach most likely.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't know that there would be a whole lot of moves to be made. Lou's probably coming back. You saw the adjustments that he made. Dolphins on 1st and goal. Lose a couple, and it'll be 1st and goal now from the 6th. Devin Achane with nowhere to go. He'll be tackled for a loss of 3. I just feel like this Bengals operation doesn't really do that. And so
I agree.
When I think about what's going to happen this offseason, Frank's contract is over is the only thing that really gives me hesitation.
That's the only reason
there.
I keep saying that he's the only one, is because it would take going out of our way to re-sign him when the O-line has been underperforming basically his entire tenure. There we go.
Yeah, I just look at the backups that stepped in. Cody Ford was serviceable most of the year. Marius Mims made really good strides over the course of the year and really looked like a tackle of the future. 2nd and goal for the Dolphins. They try a screen pass to Jonnu Smith. That's incomplete, broken up. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. They're going to try another screen to Jonnu Smith. This time he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Another loss of 3. It'll be 4th and goal from the 10, and the Dolphins will be forced to kick another field goal. Probably won't happen until the 2nd quarter as the play clock and game clock are closely aligned. 26 seconds left in the first quarter. We'll see if they kick the field goal before it or if they wait and do it afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. This will be an interesting offseason for the Bengals one way or the other, whether it's with coaching or the players. I think we can agree that there's probably 3 or 4 players that'll be cut from this team. And that's probably going to be the major changes that we see more so than really seeing the change on the coaching staff is the way I kind of feel. But that's more so because of my expectations of the Bengals, not necessarily because that's what I think should happen. And those are 2 different things.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm kind of similarly aligned there. I think they finished strong enough that they aren't going to fire anyone that would cause them to pay dead money in terms of the remaining years of a contract or anything like that. And that would be the case with both Lou and Zach. And I think with a lot of the pieces on the defense, they played their way into a little bit more optimism next year. I've pushed safety down the list of needs for next season. I would certainly love one, but with the way Geno Stone and Jordan Battle played towards the end of the year, if you get a better corner next to Cam Taylor-Britt or a healthy corner and, maybe even DJ Turner or Dax Hill and a better pass rush, maybe that unit's not as far away as we think. So that would, these last 5 weeks have been good or bad, depending on how you look at this roster. I think a lot of players and coaches saved their spot on this team for the future.
You see it on the scoreboard, but just in case you didn't, the Dolphins go ahead and kick the field goal as time expires in the first quarter. It is the end of the quarter. Dolphins lead 6-0 over the New York Jets. What about players? Obviously, I think we've had this conversation a little bit throughout the course of the season, but I think there's some obvious cuts for payroll purposes. But if you had to say a surprise cut on this Bengals team going into 2025, is there a name that stands out as a surprise to you that maybe is not back next year that you expected to be back?
I don't know about a surprise. I think all the guys that are gonna be cut or even could be cut will be cut. I think the surprises would come from the Bengals not cutting people that we expect to be cut, like maybe a Von Bell. I guess he was just a 1-year deal, but if somehow they restructure Hubbard or Rankins or Kappa and keep those guys around instead of moving on from any of those, that would surprise me. Michael puts in the chat, Joseph Osai, he's a free agent, so we would have to bring him back, and that's actually something that I would like to do, extend him as a depth piece. Pratt, if you would consider that a surprise cut, I think he would probably be the one highest on the list. I do again think that he did a little bit better towards the end of the season, probably going to work himself back in. The Bengals have always valued his late game, timely play heroics over, more consistent play. And, laid down the season, he had a pick against the Broncos that eventually won us a game. So he proved that he can still do that.
Do you think Zach Moss is back next year? He's under contract for about $5 million.
Can't be, right? He can't be. Unless you just, Khalil Herbert's under contract too, no?
No, I think he was on the last year of his rookie contract.
thought Khalil Herbert had a year left.
Maybe
you do explore keeping Zach
option,
Moss.
But he's not currently showing on the cap table for next year, but that doesn't necessarily mean that maybe they don't have like a team option that I don't know about. This is just people who are under contract for next year. So definitely a possibility, but I think one way or another, they've shown that they don't trust Travion Williams back there. Kendall Milton is an intriguing prospect, but he was on the practice squad most of the year. I don't know if you go into 2025 with him as your backup running back.
He was exciting at Georgia. Maybe that's something they could explore in the offseason if he could weasel his way into some reps.
Yeah, so that would be interesting to see. I think Zach Moss is probably my quote unquote surprise, just knowing what we know about who we're already expecting to be cut, right? Sheldon Rankin, Sam Hubbard, and Alex Kappa are 3 of the most obvious salary cap cuts that you could ever have. So,
I'd say.
I don't know that there's a whole lot else. The cap table's not exactly overflowing with guys for next year. So, and
that's another thing that you look at right there. It's the cap table is not overflowing. So that makes decision, if you're not talking about the cash aspect of it, that makes a decision like re-signing a T. Higgins make a lot of sense within the cap. There's not a lot of guys the Bengals are paying a lot of money or planning to pay a lot of money on the roster right now. And Joe Burrow kind of doubled down on that yesterday after the game, saying that we can't let T. Higgins leave the building. And I think he's made it pretty clear where he stands. The front office has to get this done, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
how you don't at this point.
The pressure. Yeah, with the pressure that Joe Burrow is seemingly putting on this front office to get it done, with the value that he's shown after T. Higgins went out yesterday in the final 28 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow only targeted a non-Jamar Chase receiver once the entire second half after T went out. I think that just shows where Burrow's brain is, I mean, we talk about Andre Yoshivas and what he can do as the number 3 receiver, but he just hasn't shown the ability to be the number 2. You hate to say that T. Higgins is a requirement in this offense when you have a offensive-minded head coach, but at this point, it certainly feels like your best offense is with T. Higgins on it. And if
no question,
T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow are all willing to make something happen, which off the record seems to be the way that it's leaning right now, is that they have some sort of plan in place to make this happen, then it would certainly be advantageous for the Bengals to do that, as the Jets fail to convert on third down. It'll be 4th and 4, and they'll punt it back to the Dolphins yet again early in the second quarter.
Broncos pick up the first down, but offensive pass interference is going to give them a 3rd and 14. Backed up behind their 50. Bo Nix is going to check it down, and Javonte Williams is going to pick it up.
Of course he is.
15-yard gain. First down. Question in the chat. People are asking, if these keep going the way they're going, where will the Bengals pick? And that answer seems to be 16th. As of right now, they're at 17th, and ahead of them, the Dolphins at 16. And if the Dolphins win this game, both will have 9-8 records. The Dolphins will be ahead of the Bengals in the standings. So I assume that would mean the Bengals would pick 16th in the draft this year.
Tyreek Hill will take the fair catch, and the Dolphins will take over the 32.
First down call is under review. It might be 4th and short.
It's where the ball crosses the line out of bounds, right?
It is.
Yep. I might be ahead of you, but it looks like it is officially going to be 4th and 1.
I saw it on the ticker right before they went to this replay.
I mean, it really is like 4th and like 3 inches. And they're going to go for it out of the shotgun. Timeout, Denver. Didn't want to leave you hanging like that. I was going to let you catch up, but I didn't want to leave you hanging that they were going for it out of shotgun. And then do we think Trey Hendrickson is going to stay next season? He's under contract, but last offseason he requested a trade or threatened to retire. What do we think happens this offseason with Trey Hendrickson?
I would guess he plays it out. I don't think the Bengals are in a position to extend him this offseason if they're going to pay T and Jamar. I certainly hope he's here for the long term, but I think if that happens, it would be next year after his contract is over, unless they found a way to extend him and not have to put any cash in guarantees, which is impossible.
Yep. And I think we said it before No Name came in, but he said, if you're rebuilding this team, what position would you look at for the 16th pick?
I want to go edge rusher. I do. or interior pass rusher. There's a couple guys that could potentially fall that are kind of in that range, but I have my heart set on edge rusher. I think there's a lot of guys that are really good in this first round, and you can get one towards the top of that list if the top of the round. We got to root for guys to reach on quarterbacks. We've been in that position the last couple of years. When you have your franchise quarterback and you're picking in the middle areas of the draft, you gotta root for reaches on quarterbacks. So if you see any mock drafts saying there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks picked in the top 20 or 2 quarterbacks in the top 15, anything along those lines, push back. Try to force a third or fourth quarterback into the top 10 because that would certainly help the Bengals. But I think the deepest position in terms of talent I wouldn't consider a reach is probably edge rusher. I wouldn't be mad if the Bengals did reach on one of the top guards in the first round. I know positional value isn't great, but taking a guy like Tyler Booker at 18 or a tackle that you think could flex, I could talk myself into that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think ultimately the one thing that we can agree on, and I think a lot of Bengals fans at this point probably agree on, is that it's best player available in the trenches. And whether that's an edge rusher, whether that's a defensive interior lineman, or an offensive guard, I think your best player available in the trenches is where you go. I'm interested to see what happens next year with Matt Lee. I know that he performed well in the preseason and that the Bengals are high on him. I don't know if they spend this offseason trying to work him out as guard. I don't know if they spend the offseason looking at Ted Karras moving back to guard, which he played with the Patriots at, or what they do there and play Matt Lee at the center. But realistically, offensive guard, you got probably one position needed. And you brought up a good point last night. You also have Cody Ford, who is more of a guard than a tackle, that brings some flexibility if they decide to bring him back on an affordable deal, if they can do that. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it all comes down to who's available and which player is available for them to take in that kind of trenches position. And we talked about it. We talked about it before. Look, I mean, ultimately, a lot of your priorities can change if T. Higgins is not re-signed. And, T. Higgins is a big kind of stepping stone into what this offseason will be and kind of set the tone. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The boss man's in the chat. Trace Fowler said, "Did I see a mock draft of Jalen Milroe top 10? It's every year someone does this." Yeah, you're right. I'm an Alabama guy. I'm not going to try to convince you Jalen Milroe is a first-round draft pick at quarterback, but he has a lot of the same athletic profile as a guy like Anthony Richardson, who went top 5 with way more college production. So it wouldn't shock me at all if he makes a crazy throw at his pro day and someone takes him top 10, top 15, which would be a huge win for the Bengals. So certainly rooting for it, and got a guy I really like.
Yep. Dolphins stopped by the Jets defense. They end up punting it away, and the Jets will take over at their own 20-yard line. Time is ticking away here in the second quarter. Dolphins lead 6-0.
It's 3rd and 1 for the Broncos, down inside the red zone at the Kansas City 15-yard line, looking to go up 21-0 if they can convert this third down. Bo Nix broke his career high with 8 straight completions to start the game. Still yet to throw an incompletion. He's 15 of 15 to start this game today. QB sneak.
Well, we talked about it last night. This Chiefs defense, if they wanted to have any hope, really needed to pressure Bo Nix, and they needed to try to create some turnovers. And 15 for his first 15 is certainly not doing either one of those so far. And like you said, first down deep in the enemy territory at this point for Bo Nix. So not looking great for those Bengals.
8 minutes to go here in Denver. Bo Nix is rolling out, and he's going to throw back across the middle. It's caught for about 5 on first down. Now inside the 10 are the Broncos.
Another question from the chat. No Name asks, who are the top 3 free agents outside of T that the Bengals must re-sign? So players not under contract for next year. that you would like to see them bring back and re-sign?
I'm putting Mike Gesicki right up there. I think him as
He's
a
number
wide
one.
receiver
No
3.
question.
Yeah, I think when you're putting as much money as you can in those 2 receivers, you're going to have a tight end as a wide receiver 3. That's a great option. He's shown he can do that down the stretch. Easy number 1. I think Osai is pretty high. I think having him as a depth piece at edge is pretty good, and he's shown a good, coming on as of lately. And then B.J. Hill, I believe, is a free agent. So I think having him back in the middle of that defense with the young guys, if we're unable to go get a big dog in the middle in terms of free agency or early in the draft, I think it has to be a priority to bring back B.J. Hill. You just don't know what you have in the rest of the guys in that room. Bo Nix rolls out, tipped. Oh my God, Craig. Touchdown Broncos.
Ball tipped,
Twice.
caught by Vele. The question
Oh,
was
man.
the initial Broncos receiver who tipped it.
Out of bounds.
Oh,
He didn't touch it. He
The
didn't touch it.
tipped
It
off
was both the
Chiefs
Chiefs
player.
guys. It was both the Chiefs
and then
guys.
down, yep. It's going to be a
Damn.
touchdown Vele, and it is 20-0 extra point coming for the Broncos.
What if the player
is
out of
looking
bounds is
great.
touching the player inbounds? Are they both out of bounds? Can we just do
Right.
they are all connected, right? Come on. Come on.
Going back to No Name's question, I'm going to agree with you on most of them. I'm going to throw one more name at you that I would focus on re-signing given the price tag. I think that's the question. We've talked about this guy before. I think what he brings from a leadership perspective and a toughness perspective is kind of unmatched at this point on this Bengals defense, and that's Mike Hilton. And I realize that you can't trust him in coverage, but what he brings to you in the run game, what he brings to you off the blitzing, I think is something that right now this Bengals team hasn't really been able to find. And for a team who really struggled to get pressure on the quarterback, Mike Hilton was probably a top 5 pass rusher for this Bengals team, despite the fact that he wasn't pass rushing on a majority of downs. So he's the last name that I'll throw out there as somebody that we should be looking to re-sign. I'm sure there's others as well.
We do have
no
breaking
disrespect
news.
to anybody we haven't mentioned, but go ahead.
Patriots' job is open. The Patriots have fired Gerard Mayo. There is no head coach, one and done for the New England Patriots head coach, and at least in my humble opinion, that is the most desirable head coaching opening at this point.
Yeah, so look, I think there's a couple things that I'll say about that. So first thing is I'm very surprised that they fired him despite today's win. I realize that he was playing a nobody Bills backup team, but
Do you think they
for them to
fired him
come out
because of
into-
today's win?
I don't know. That's always a question. Did Robert Kraft want to tank and want to secure the number 1 draft pick?
Just
and when
reminds
that
me of the
didn't
Lovie
happen,
Smith Texans ordeal
changes.
from a couple years ago.
Yep. Certainly up there. The other thing I would throw out there is today may not have mattered. Robert Kraft may already have an agreement in place with Mike Vrabel to take over that job. And regardless of what Gerard Mayo did at this point, he may just feel so good about bringing Mike Vrabel in at this point that he, in fact, is the answer. And it didn't matter what Gerard Mayo did today, which is really tough. Look, Gerard Mayo was identified as the head coach in waiting. This team was not good coming into this year. I realized that Robert Kraft had higher expectations than what they ended up doing, but it's not a good football team. Quite frankly, one of the worst football teams if you look at the roster. And there was no reason for them to be competitive this year. They did what they were supposed to do. And for Gerard Mayo to be put in that position is unfortunate. I'm sure that he will land on his feet somewhere, probably as a defensive coordinator next year. But that's a tough position to be in. And I realize the pressure that Robert Kraft is probably feeling from the fan base. And ultimately, I think given the relationship there is Mike Vrabel will be that head coach, and we will probably hear that announced really quickly.
Pretty quick. I would tend to agree. The only other name that would possibly sneak up there, because I do think it's so desirable, is maybe Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson, if he truly does have his pick of the litter and he wants to go coach Drake May with $100+ million in cap space and a top 5 pick, maybe he'd pick there.
Garrett Wilson with the shake and bake works his way down to the Dolphins' 6-yard line, and the Jets are threatening Garrett Wilson. I tell you what, that's another storyline we got to follow this offseason. Garrett Wilson very clearly unhappy with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, seemingly putting the Jets front office in a position where he may request a trade if Aaron Rodgers is back next year. Doesn't sound like Aaron Rodgers will be back next year, so maybe that'll solve itself. But Garrett Wilson, one of the best young wide receivers in the league, if he becomes a free agent, that certainly opens up some interesting storylines. Interesting question from Sean Connor if Gerard Mayo is available, as Aaron Rodgers finds Tyler Conklin in the end zone wide open. Jets pending the extra point tied up 6-6 with 7:57 left in the second quarter. Sean Connor asked if the Bengals do decide to move on from Lou Anarumo, how do you feel about Gerard Mayo as the Bengals defensive coordinator next year?
I wouldn't hate it. I certainly wouldn't be overjoyed. I think if the Bengals move on from Lou Anarumo, I want a guy that's, I don't know, kind of more of a exciting hire at DC. I've circled a lot of the ex-head coaches. The name that really sticks out to me if the Bengals do move on from Lou, a guy Zach Taylor wanted in his original staff, Dennis Allen, the Saints head coach that was fired. I know he's not a good head coach, one of the worst of all time, actually. Him and Hugh Jackson right there at the bottom of the list in terms of winning percentage for head coaches, determined based on the minimum number of games and everything along those lines. Dennis Allen's terrible as a head coach, but a damn good defensive coordinator. So I would be pretty thrilled with him. Wouldn't be over the moon about Gerard Mayo, but I take it. Steve Ross throws another name, says Robert Saleh. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. I want a Saleh, a Dennis Allen, Brandon Staley, someone that's been at the peak, because I think that's where the Bengals should be aiming for. A big play from Carson Wentz to someone I don't know, Nico Remigio. So great play by our dear friend Nico, but welcome to Week 18, friends. Great point in the chat from Aaron.
Carson Wentz takes a lick on that throw too.
But we got a 2-for-1 here for the Chiefs.
42-yard line.
You go 2-for-1 here, and we're right back in action.
4.5 minutes left in the second quarter for the Chiefs, so definitely a possibility here if they can work the clock on this last drive here of the first half. Yeah, look, as someone asked, would you bring in Mayo as a linebacker coach? If he's available, sure. I don't expect
I think he'll be a DC.
Rod Mayo to be available to be a linebacker coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots before taking over the head coaching responsibilities. I would expect him to get another.
I thought Steve Belichick was their DC.
Steve Belichick was at Washington, dude.
Well,
he left this year. Where was Gerard Mayo before? Was he the linebackers coach?
That's what I thought.
He wasn't even the DC?
I don't think so. I'm 99% sure.
So he wasn't calling plays last year, huh?
Maybe I'm wrong. I'll double check. Inside linebackers coach, 2019 to 2023, head coach in 2024.
Interesting.
So he's never been a DC.
I apologize for not knowing the depth of the Patriots coaching staff. No name asset. We actually went over the cut list a couple of minutes ago. The obvious ones are Sheldon Rankins, Sam Hubbard, and Alex Kappa. I asked Jacob for some surprises. Just to be blunt, there's not a whole lot of surprises because there's not a whole lot of guys under contract for much money. I know you mentioned Jermaine Pratt as maybe a surprise. The name that we threw out, and I think we both agreed on at this point, might be a surprise name, is somebody like Zach Moss, who missed a majority of the season with the injury. And quite frankly, the way that Chase Brown finished this year made it pretty obvious that maybe he's a solution there. So,
third
Chiefs,
and 9, Carson Wentz throws a 5-yard slant. So 4th and 4.
4th and 4, and they're going for it. And I'll let Jacob announce it. I won't say it even if I see it.
Oh, you can go for it. I'll take it, though. 4th and 4, we need Wentz. to have a little hope here. 3:15 in the second half, or second quarter, first half. Play clock ticking down. Wentz gets the snap and shotgun. He fires to the flat. It's caught. First down inside the 25. Our dear friend, Samaje Perine, picks up the first down.
Hell yeah.
We knew he'd help if he could.
I can say hell on this show, right?
Hell yeah, you can.
We're not on the radio today. We can say whatever we want. Oh, man. Herbert's a free agent, David, so he will likely be gone. Zach Moss, again, under contract for about $5 million. Wouldn't be shocked to see him gone. Quick note, Aaron Rodgers, that was his 500th career TD pass. We knew coming into that was the case.
Yeah.
Dolphins take over at their own 40-yard line.
We have breaking news. We have breaking news.
Hold on. Finds Jalen Waddle for a pickup of about 20. Go ahead.
From whoever's running the Chatterbox account, we have breaking news. The Bengals have been eliminated from the playoffs. Come on, Kirby. Cut us.
He throws the ball deep to Jalen Waddle, and it is intercepted at the New York Jets 10-yard line.
There we go.
By Davis, I think.
Yeah, sure. It's week 18.
Safety. Picked off by the safety for the New York Jets. Number 21 comes down with it and gets both feet in bounds. Davis with the interception. The Jets take over 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line. 7 minutes and 9 seconds to go in the first half in that one.
2-minute warning in Denver, so no action going on.
Oh, perfect.
On that front.
Now another Davis, Isaiah Davis with the carry. Picks up a nice chunk on first down. Aaron Rodgers so far, 9 of 15 for 87 yards, 1 touchdown, and the interception on the first play. It'll be 2nd and inches. Aaron Rodgers lined up under center, reading the defense, audibling, 16 on the play clock to go.
Oh, no, my TV just went black.
Oh, no. Screen pass out to Garrett Wilson. Wilson runs backwards and will lose a yard.
What is going on?
Had the space to pick up the first down, tried to get cute with it and cut it back outside. Aaron Rodgers hits him on the quick screen pass. He cuts it inside, had room to pick up the easy first down, tried to cut it back out, fell down backwards, and ended up losing a yard. It'll be 3rd and 1 at the Jets 19. Oh, man, Jimmy Collins in the chat saying, sorry, we've hit a lull there.
Oh, Jimbo. That's not very nice.
Now, Braylon Allen will get the carry. He'll pick up the first down and more for the Jets. Be 1st down and 10.
I don't know what happened here, but I'm struggling to get this game back on.
All right. Well, I can pull double duty if I need to.
I think you're going to have to hold it down for the time being.
I'm going to do my best. Carson Wentz maybe sacked. Maybe they're doing a recap of the – nope. Oh, perfect. We're getting a cut to Patrick Mahomes on the sideline whining. He would never do that, would he? 3rd and 13 for this Kansas City offense. 1:52 left in the first half. 3rd and 13 following the Carson Wentz sack. And we'll see what they can do from there. This might be the first – no, the 2-minute warning happened at the 2 minutes. So clock is running. 1:45 left to go in the first half in that one. Carson Wentz looking to get the Kansas City Chiefs on the board here in the first half. And they will stop the clock and reset it to 1:52. The clock will start on the snap, not on the ready for play. 3rd and 13 for Carson Wentz at the 26-yard line. Wentz in shotgun. Samaje Perine lined up next to him. Dual wide receivers on either side of the line. Snap back to Wentz. He's looking, finds a receiver, and the play is blown dead before the completion can be made. Looks like false start on the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be 3rd and 18 instead as Michael Rolfe drops in.
Big time.
Chiefs equal lawn chair. Big time $20 super chat by our guy, Michael Rolfe. Michael, we appreciate you checking in today. Hopefully this Kansas City offense can get something going, but not looking great. Chiefs equal lawn chair. And just as we said it, Chiefs now facing a 3rd and 18. At this point, you just got to avoid a sack and stay in field goal range and get on the board before halftime, I think is probably what's going to happen. Look for a little draw play or a screen pass to Samaje. Samaje in the background. Carson Wentz scrambling still, and he finally is sacked at the 33-yard line. It'll be 4th down from there, and the Chiefs will be forced to kick a 50-yard field goal to try and get on the board for the first time in this first half. Minute 30 left in the first half as the clock winds. Man, Carson Wentz had a ton of time. Didn't find any open receivers, though. Did break a couple of tackles to stay within field goal range. He was deep there. Could have really been pushing the limits of the field goal range of Harrison Butker. Instead, they will try a 51-yarder. Harrison Butker kick is up, and it is no good. He missed it wide left. Harrison Butker struggles continue on the season, and the ball will go back to the Denver Broncos at the 41-yard line with 1 minute and 4 seconds left. Broncos now with a chance to get more points on the board. They already lead. I shouldn't say win. They lead 21-0. Minute 4 left in that one. Meanwhile, back in the Jets and Dolphins game, Aaron Rodgers misses a wide open wide receiver. Allen Lazard was streaking uncovered. Didn't see him. Instead, 4th and 5 for the Jets, and they are lining up to go for it from the 38-yard line. Aaron Rodgers in shotgun. He is flanked by Breece Hall. Aaron Rodgers drops back looking, and he's going to be sacked. Aaron Rodgers sacked, loses yardage, doesn't matter. Dolphins will take over. 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first half there. Dolphins take over at the Jets' 46-yard line. Man, rough little stretch there for the Bengals' hopes as Butker misses one wide left. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets get sacked on 4th and 5. And here we go.
At least the Jets are winning, holding up their end of the bargain so far.
7-6 right now. Did you get yours back, or should I flip back over to the Chiefs game?
It's on
again?
The far TV. I have the Chiefs game on the less than ideal streaming TV, but that's where we're at now.
No Name asks the question. He says multiple kickers have struggled this year. It's been interesting. Any idea why? New ball design or just bad kicking? I think there's let me see if I can find it. I actually sent a tweet out about this. Someone sent a tweet and asked us a very similar question, and I sent a reply that I don't really know how much it is true or not, but I sent an opinion on it. And if you look at the numbers, there's some very interesting kind of trends right now. So across the NFL in general, teams are attempting the most field goals since 1973, including the most 50-plus yarders ever. Across the league, the field goal percentage, which was 83.9% this year at the time of the tweet, which was December 29th, was the lowest since 2019. Kickers had converted 85+% each of the last 3 years. So it's a combination of things. I think they're trying more and more to get those long field goals, and ultimately that's throwing people off. I think kickers are trying to change their approach in order to try and hit more of these 50-yarders. Never in the league have there been this many 50-yarders as Bo Nix scrambles, flips it to Williams. Javonte Williams running alongside him, flips it to him well down the field, and ultimately the Broncos will be tackled down at the Kansas City 14-yard line. 40 seconds to go in the first half. And the previous play will be under further review.
Forward?
Maybe to make sure it wasn't forward, and it was indeed forward, it looks like, based on the replay.
God.
Bo Nix running forward, flips it, and Javonte Williams, he flipped it at the 33, and Javonte Williams caught it at the 30. So definitely was going forward. And interesting decision by Bo Nix to try and flip it to him when he had already picked up 30 yards on the play. I don't know.
Jeez,
so
Bo.
I would assume that is a penalty from the spot of the foul, but I might be wrong. That doesn't get brought back to the previous spot, does it?
That I don't know, but that's a forward pass.
Definitely a forward pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I would assume that's a spot foul. Foul, but regardless, a huge gain for the Broncos before the half.
Yep. And for Bengals fans who are hoping that the Broncos would stay off the board here going into the half, they're now going to be in field goal range with less than a minute to go in the first half, already leading 21-0.
It is enforced from the spot of the foul. 5 yards enforced at the Kansas City 32.
There you go. So Dolphins now into Jets territory as they try to run the ball on first down. It's going to be sniffed out in the backfield, loss of 3 or 4, second down now as we approach the 2-minute warning in that one.
Not good, Craig. Not good.
Chase with a good point. You still have Ohio State to hope for, Jacob. I know you have real high hopes for the head coaching position there with in Columbus.
Yeah, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later.
That's a topic for another stream.
Yeah, we got 2 more games to win, then I'll talk about that again. Nonsense. We should have known this was going to go the way of this. Bengals held on for too long anyway. Built us up just so we could crumble again.
As is the way of the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's right. They couldn't just let us go quietly.
Captain Buckeye asked, and we talked about it last night a little bit, is this way better than having the Jets lose on a pick 6 in the last 30 seconds and the Chiefs lose on a field goal in the last 4 seconds? Is this better? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely better. Yeah. Waiting till the end of these games would have been a nightmare if we still didn't get in. So, yeah, it's definitely easier this way, at least in my opinion.
Yep. So they just came back from break, officially overturned the ruling on the field to an illegal forward pass, enforced at the 32, like you said, Jacob. So 1st and 10. I love Sean Hockley, man. He's so funny. Oh, man. Clock will run on my signal. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yep, so 37-yard line for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix drops back to pass, flushed from the pocket. He's going to scramble, and it's a long one. Again, he's down to the 10 and will go out of bounds at the 8-yard line. There is a flag down, though, and the Chiefs are pointing like it's on the Broncos. Let's see. Holding on the offense. This one will come back again. Replay first down. It'll be 1st and 20. Quinn Miners on the flag on that one.
This is a struggle. This angle is brutal. I'm lucky this never happened during a Bengals stream. Having to watch clear across.
Are you on a box or on a stream? Are you way behind me now?
I'm on a stream now, so I'll be further behind you than I was.
All right.
So
well,
feel free to take whatever you can, and if you miss something, I'll call it. Right. But I don't want to hold the people back.
I'll take the last 32 seconds here, and then I'll flip back to the Dolphins and Jets unless something happens there that needs me to flip back before then. But
I could actually go to Dolphins and Jets in case something bad happens there.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
And then you can take them.
Bo Nix deep down the sideline. He's got Cortland Sutton having a first half. That ball is caught inbounds, though, at the 14. Denver's only got 1 timeout left. Clock is ticking. 1st and 10 from the 14. 16 seconds left, 15, 14. Bo Nix in shotgun. He takes the snap at 10. Bo Nix back to pass. He's got Javonte Williams wide open, and he underthrows him. Javonte Williams was wide open down the right hash. wide open, would have walked in for a touchdown. Instead, Bo Nix misses him, thrown wildly short, and the Broncos will have 6 seconds left. That's Bo Nix's first incomplete pass of the game. He was 18 for 18 leading up to that point. He's now 18 for 19 on what should have been his 19th completion for the day, and another touchdown. Instead, falls short of Javonte Williams, and luckily Denver Broncos will send out the kicking team with 6 seconds left in the first half, try to make this a 24-0 game. Technically still a 3-possession game if the Chiefs score 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. So Jacob is seeing the wild inaccuracy here now, I'm sure, of this Bo Nix pass if he isn't already. But
I'm
Sean
on
Payton will
the
take his last
Jets-Dolphins game, and Snoop
game?
Huntley just fumbled, and it's scooped up by the Jets defense with 1:47 to go in this first half.
Go.
It's Jets ball right about
Let's
midfield.
go. Boom. Will Lutz, 30 of 33 on the season from field goal. This one will be a 33-yard attempt. Again, 6 seconds left in the first half. Denver leading 21-0 over Kansas City. Snap is down. Hold is good. Kick is good. The Broncos now lead 24-0 with 3 seconds left in what I would only assume will be a kickoff kneel and kneel for the Chiefs.
Gonna lose by 50 here? Is that the plan?
I don't think that'll happen.
Go on pace.
At some point, I know we joked about it early on, but at some point the Denver Broncos will pull starters in this game and ultimately rest them up. So they're showing a replay now of this Snoop Huntley fumble, and it is indeed a fumble. That is very clear. As man, this offensive lineman grabs a nice grasp of a face mask as it happens, but not called. Jets take over at the 39-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. 1st and 10 in enemy territory. 1:47 on the clock. Call is a handoff to Breece Hall. Breece Hall breaks through. He's picking up 10 plus. He'll be gang tackled after picking up 13, and the clock will tick as the Jets look to extend their first half lead over the Miami Dolphins. They lead 7-6. Breece Hall picking up 13 on that one. Aaron Rodgers so far in this first half, 11 of 19, 121 yards, touchdown and an interception.
Doing his part. Can say the same for Wentz. 6 of 9 for 50.
Perfect. Aaron Rodgers over the middle. He has a tight end. Jamie Moore catches it, and looks like the Jets will take their first timeout, or maybe the Dolphins. Jets will call a timeout. The replay shows Aaron Rodgers emphatically calling a timeout. So first Jets timeout of the half. They still have 2 left. The Dolphins, worth noting, do have all 3 timeouts left with 1:03 on the clock. So if the Jets do score quickly here, the Dolphins would get the ball back with 3 timeouts and a chance to try and answer on that one. The Dolphins did get the ball first, worth noting. So the Jets here, an opportunity to go 2 for 1, as we love to talk about. So
that's right.
Good opportunity there. As the Denver Broncos and Kansas City Chiefs officially hit halftime, 24-0 in the Mile High Stadium. Broncos looking to secure that last playoff spot. Bengals hoping that they collapse in the second half.
Yeah, that's what we're resorting to now.
What do you think about this AFC West? As Aaron Rodgers finds Allen Lazard wide open, he will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Jets, 13-6.
There we go.
But they did leave 59 seconds for the Dolphins. We talked about it. They get the touchdown here, but they leave time on the board for the Dolphins with 3 timeouts. Allen Lazard blocks and then releases and is wide open. Just nobody around him. Dolphins try to guard him with a linebacker, and Alan Lazard just too quick for that one. He waltzes into the end zone. Aaron Rodgers' 501st career touchdown now for his career.
Well,
they are going to go for 2,
trying.
Jacob, to make this a 9-point game and a 2-possession game. They're up 7 already at 13-6, so they're going to go for 2, try to make it a 9-point contest instead of an 8-point contest. So we said earlier on we thought that 12 might win this game, so they're at 13 now, and
maybe it'll be enough.
They'll go for 2 here. Aaron Rodgers in shotgun. Breece Hall flanked next to him. Garrett Wilson man-on-man at the top of the screen to Aaron Rodgers' left. The handoff goes to Breece Hall. Breece Hall tries to fight his way forward, and he's in. 2-point conversion is good. Breece Hall forces his way into the end zone, and the Jets go up 15-6 over the Miami Dolphins with 59 seconds to go as a little kerfuffle happens.
Kerfuffle.
With the wide receiver and DB. Can't tell who it was, but Jets get the 2-point conversion with 59 seconds left. They will kick off to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins will have all 3 of their timeouts to try to score before halftime here. But going back, the AFC West is an interesting division for next year, Jacob. Obviously, the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs will all make the playoffs this year, similar to last year with the or 2 years ago with the AFC North, whenever it was. AFC North has historically been pretty competitive. This AFC West is looking like it's going to line up to be one of the best divisions in football next year as well. Looking at 2025, you have any bold predictions for the AFC West, Jacob?
Yeah, I'll be bold. The Chiefs will win it for the 90th year in a row. All these other teams can do whatever they want. I think the Chargers are the one I believe in the longest term in the AFC West. Obviously the Chiefs, but in terms of the Chargers or the Broncos, I love Herbert and I love Harbaugh. I think they're going to be here for the long haul, but I don't know how, long-term Bo Nix is going to be really good. The knock on him coming into the draft was this Bo Nix? And if this is Bo Nix, he's good enough to go 9-8 and or 10-7 if they win this one and get you to the playoffs. And I don't think that's good enough in most years to win a Super Bowl or get to the playoffs. Even.
Washington's got a lane. He's free down the left side of the field. He's all the way down to the 35-yard line of the Jets. A big return for the Miami Dolphins. 49 seconds and now in field goal range already as they start this drive to end the first half. And Washington got a seam up the left side of the field and just wasn't even touched until he was into the Jets territory.
Presumably,
good
15-9.
Good return for the Dolphins. Yeah, at best case scenario at this point, you're looking 15-9. The Dolphins will start with a handoff. It's Devin Achane who picks up a couple. 2nd and 8, and the Dolphins will burn their first timeout with 44 seconds left. Sorry. Continue your thought on the AFC West, if anything.
No, yeah, you're good. I mean, I believe in Sean Payton, but I just don't believe in Bo Nix really at all in terms of long-term success or really improving much of what we saw this year. So I think it's a 2-horse race.
Herbert?
At some point, Herbert and the Chargers will win that division. I don't think it'll be next year. Maybe it will be, depending on what they do in the offseason. They're probably a wide receiver 1 and a couple other pieces away from really being a serious contender in terms of stacking up with the other top teams in the league. But yeah, I think the Chiefs are. We saw it this year. They're far from perfect and still 15-1 and comfortably winning that division. So I think it's a long climb for any other team in the West to be on top of that one. But I think they're certainly good, certainly a good division.
Yeah, the Chargers, one of the teams that have been mentioned in the T. Higgins race multiple times, them and the Patriots.
Yep.
Both are reportedly ready to go all in for T. Higgins. You mentioned it, but the Chargers really are just kind of a wide receiver 1 away. Yeah. Vlad McConkey showed a lot of promise. I don't know that he's necessarily a wide receiver 1 or a really good wide receiver 2.
He's still exciting.
Depends. He's kind of that kind of like Wes Welker type where he's just a really good route runner. Can get free for sure. He's not necessarily a burner, doesn't necessarily have the strongest hands, but definitely showed a lot of promise here in his rookie year as the Dolphins pick up a first down and call their second timeout of the half. 37 seconds remaining in MetLife.
That's one of the least competitive divisions, even though they have good teams. I mean, it's been, a decade now that the Chiefs have won it?
East?
Or
the AFC West, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean,
even when the Chiefs were winning it at the end of Alex Smith, start of Patrick Mahomes, the Raiders were right there. Those Derek Carr teams were 10, 12 wins. I actually think they won it once. I think they were the last team to win it pre-Chiefs. But yeah, it's just it's crazy how I don't know good that division is when only one team has won it for a decade.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's similar to the Patriots of Tom Brady's prime. I mean, the Patriots were winning it every year, and now it's Mahomes' turn to win it. And yeah, it's a good point. Snoop goes deep down the right sideline towards Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill unable to come down with it. Pass was underthrown severely. So incomplete there. Look, I think I agree with you though with Harbaugh now in Los Angeles and that team playing really well. It'll be interesting. We talked about it during a show a couple of weeks ago. Jesse Minter will be a hot name for sure in the head coaching ranks this year. It'll be interesting to see if he lands anywhere amongst these openings. $5 super chat from LeVar Hollis. LeVar, I appreciate it. I don't know if that's your first super chat or not, but don't recognize the name, so I appreciate you checking in. As the Jets intercept Snoop Huntley's pass, it's picked off by Davis, who then laterals it back to another Davis. Oh, no, back to Reed. It felt like they have like 100 Davises. Huntley picked off in the end zone by Davis. Davis laterals it to Reed, and the Jets will take over with 2 timeouts and 20 seconds. Let's see what happened here.
Decent
Huntley
return out
looking
across
to go,
the 40.
Oh, under pressure. Just a really poor pass intended for Jalen Waddle. Picked off in the end zone and returned out past the 30-yard line all the way out to the 43-yard line. So really only going to need 15 to 20 yards in order to get into field goal range for the Jets. And now we'll see if they can't go 3 for 1, Jacob. How about that?
We like a 3 for 1. If they go 3 for 1, can we give 2 of those 3 scores to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I know, right? They're going to call it an illegal forward pass.
No.
on the return. So the Jets will maintain the ball, but they won't have it at the 45. Like it looks like it'll be brought back probably around the 10-yard line. Let's see if that's under
5 yards from the pitch.
He's gonna flip it at the 50, at the 20, at the 17. I can't talk to save my life. Man, that didn't look back. That didn't look forward. I'm sure we're gonna get this reviewed. LeVar Hollis, we have a number 1 passer, number 1 receiver, Triple Crown winner, and the number 1 sack in the season. Don't make the playoff. That has to be coaching.
Yeah, I certainly could point to that. That's also 3 guys out of 22 starters, and I think there's a lot of holes elsewhere on this team. I'm not acting like Zach Taylor's the best coach in the world. He also does call plays for an offense that was incredibly successful this year. So I think we do have to give him credit for that as well. But yeah, next year is going to be a big-time prove-it year for Taylor and his future in Cincinnati, and we'll see how that goes. And I think the best thing we can do as Bengals fans is kind of rally behind him, because we've been telling you for weeks and weeks and weeks now that Zach Taylor is going to be the coach of the Bengals. So if you don't think we can win with Zach Taylor, you are throwing away the next 2 year at least, of Bengals fandom if you think we can't win with Zach Taylor. So I choose to believe we can, because we've seen it and we've done it more than we've seen any other Bengals coach win in organizational history. So I still have faith in this coaching staff. Certainly wasn't pretty this year, but you can point to a lot of different things that have the Bengals sitting where they're sitting right now.
Yep. After the penalty, the Jets take over at the 12. They'll just hand it off, run out the clock in the first half. They'll take the halftime lead over the Miami Dolphins. That game going the way that the Bengals fans hoped it would, but other game not going the way we had hoped. We'll stick around for a while in the second half of the Broncos game, see if the Chiefs can't get something going, and stick around with the chat. And obviously, if you guys have more questions, let us know. We're here for you guys. So appreciate you all tuning in and spending your Sunday with us. Certainly lined up for what could have been an interesting Sunday for the Bengals fans. But Chiefs at 15-1 and having locked up the number 1 seed going up against this Broncos team, not looking great.
Yep, 24 down in Denver. Probably not going to be on here much longer with the season looking like it's over.
Yep. Andrew asked, we talked about it earlier, but Lou Anarumo must be on the hot seat. Yeah, he made adjustments that turned it in the right direction, but it was too late. Look, we said it before. Whether you want to hear this or not, the Bengals have never been an organization that have moved on from a lot of coaches, and Lou and Zach have a good relationship. I think I find it hard to believe that they're going to move on from Lou based on how the end of the season went, but you just never know. I guess we will find out. I don't know. Frank Pollock, the name that Jacob and I have thrown around in terms of names that likely not to be back with the Bengals next year. Frank Pollock's contract up at the end of this year, so we'll see what happens.
Yep.
First half comparison, Bo Nix 18 of 19, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 47 rushing yards. You mentioned earlier Carson Wentz 6 of 9 for 53 yards.
We're down 24 here in KC. I think we should wrap this one up and call it a day. There's no fight left in these games.
Well, the Chiefs get the ball to start the half. Let's give them a drive to see if they can do anything, and then if not, we can call this a day a little bit earlier than we had hoped.
All right.
Which is fine by me. I got to get some dinner. I haven't eaten anything today. Not really looking forward to ending this one early, but at the same time, it'll work out. No Name agrees that Lou will remain on for at least one more season. $9.99 super chat now from Michael Rolfe. Chiefs equals USPS. Mailing it in. Oh, man, Rolfe. They really don't want to see the Bengals. Carson Wentz started off with a quick pass to one of their 18 tight ends. That's Hendershot. They'll pick up 15. Ooh, optimistic John had Indian food brought in. Is it still snowing out? Probably. I can't see it. It's dark out now, but Chase says the weather's really bad in Indy, which means it's probably heading this way. No Name asks, what changes, if any, do you see happening in the front office? Firings, new contract negotiation tactics, etc.
Nothing.
I don't know that I see anything changing.
No front office changes.
The amazing fetus. Chiefs making a unsuspecting QB change out of the half. Newly signed practice squad quarterback Bo Juro getting a chance to show what he can do here in the second half for the Chiefs. Natty Ron, you definitely missing out. We've got a couple inches already on the ground. Supposed to snow through tomorrow, early afternoon, I believe. So,
yeah, my CBS channel just cut away from halftime to do weather hazard stuff.
Perfect. Juju Smith-Schuster on the short completion on second down. Picks up about 4. It'll be 3rd and 6 for the Chiefs. John, we appreciate you checking in. Definitely not the way we wanted it to go, but I'm going to hold out hope. Not over yet. Kansas City 3rd and 6 at their own 49-yard line. Wentz back to pass, and he's going to be sacked.
You can no longer bet Kansas City money line. It has been removed after that play.
Look, I was hoping that this was going to last a little bit longer, Jacob.
Yeah. We knew
Really
pretty
didn't wanna have
quick.
to do this so early.
Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. There we go.
It is officially Cincinnati Reds season.
How many days till pitchers and catchers? Do you know?
81.
81 days.
That might be till the first, actually. Now that I think about it.
Well, either
So,
way.
I don't know.
Either way, we can lock in.
40 days.
We got baseball season around the corner. Hopefully a good one for Cincinnati fans. This season certainly didn't go the way we wanted in football. We said it was going to be the Super Bowl year. We thought with it in NOLA and all that good stuff, it was a storybook run for this team this year. And obviously lost week 1 to the Patriots and never really clawed our way out. Chiefs down 24 to the Broncos. Jets doing their part, but the Bengals need both outcomes to get into the playoffs, and it's not looking like it's going to happen. If the Chiefs pull off an all-time comeback and we look like idiots, we'll see y'all again in a couple hours for a playoff show. But if everything keeps trending this direction, it'll be Tuesday for a breakdown of the Bengals' Week 18 win over Pittsburgh. Craig, thanks for holding it down all year long. I had a couple weeks off. You never did. Held down the post game and Tuesday, Thursdays, and everything along those lines from all the way down in Memphis every now and then. So thank you so much for the commitment, and I know all of them certainly appreciate it, and I do too. And then everyone in the chat that was with us for 18 weeks means a lot to us, and we appreciate it every single step of the way. But that's gonna wrap it up for the playoff spectacular.
We gave it a go, Jacob.
We did. I thought we were going to do it. I really thought we were going to do it. But no fight from the Chiefs backups.
Yep.
It's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody, for the support all season long. We'll see you Tuesday to wrap up the Bengals' last win of the year and talk about off-season plans for the program. Hoo-day, one last time, everybody.